Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. Guess who was the worst to Cheryl Hines on The View? I know, it's like asking which bear in Yellowstone took the biggest dump, but still, one stood out. On his podcast, Howie Mandel told Cheryl Hines to never go back on The View because she didn't deserve such awful treatment.
Would you go back on?
Yeah, I'd go back on.
No.
No. Oh, I have to be in a certain mood, but I would do it.
Really? You shouldn't. I'm telling you, you shouldn't. Nobody deserves to be attacked.
Yeah, I felt like Sunny was the. I felt like she really just wanted to make her points. So it didn't feel that much like an interview necessarily with her, but I feel like with the other women, it felt a little different.
Can I tell you,
The level of rudeness by Sunny Hostin in that interview was truly impressive. She was giving Cheryl the kind of attitude usually reserved for telemarketers and Comcast customer service. Nancy has no idea what euphemism means. Remember when Nancy Pelosi said that President Trump was a vile creature and the worst thing on the face of the earth? Nancy clarified what she meant.
By the way, I said that as a euphemism. I could have done much worse.
You could have done worse. You could have said worse.
Yeah.
Do you want? Are there other adjectives you'd rather use?
No. I want to talk about my house, the House Democrat.
Anderson and Nancy laughing it up like a couple of mean girls in junior high. I called them names. So funny. And Anderson's asking her, what other adjectives could you use? Nothing says it's sweeps week at CNN like trying to get Nancy Pelosi to drop the F-bomb on national television. If you wanted to hear some profanity from Nancy, just tell her you won't let her leave until she takes a breathalyzer. Crockett says she wasn't lying, she's just really, really dumb. In a desperate attempt to take the spotlight off of her fellow Democrats for possible connections to Jeffrey Epstein, Jasmine Crockett claimed that a member of President Trump's cabinet, Lee Zeldin, previously took donations from Jeffrey Epstein.
folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly: Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red.
Later, when Crockett was on CNN, she was actually fact-checked by the host.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Do you want to correct the record on the people that you...
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make... So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies.
Crockett saying, Jeffrey Epstein is like saying, Bin Laden, and then saying, oh, I meant Doug Bin Laden from Des Moines. A judge just stopped President Trump from washing a White House staff building. On Friday, a law firm filed a complaint against the Trump administration after President Trump considered washing and painting the Eisenhower Executive Office building. Democrats suing to stop cleaning is the most accurate metaphor for their entire party. If it's dirty, broken, or failing, we're going to fight to keep it that way. One of the plaintiffs said this: the court battle lies ahead, and we are fully conscious of just how much is at stake for this wonderful building and for the rest of America's treasures protected under law. Democrats hate the idea of a clean building. Cleanliness is the gateway drug to competence. At this rate, the White House will need a federal judge's approval just to clean the toilets in the West Wing. And now onto the comment section. First, we're looking at the segment we did about the consent to change a diaper, where the experts thought the parents should get consent from babies before they change their diaper. We have this from Dragon Shadow 1902. If the baby understands consent, then they are old enough to change it themselves. Yeah, if you're having a full conversation with the child, do you think I should change your diaper? No, I don't feel comfortable with you changing. Frickin' just say, you know what? Go to the bathroom, clean yourself up. That whole thing is so dumb. And as you might recall, I don't know if I mentioned this, but that diaper study, those experts were from Australia. So having to do with Australia. We had this comment from Lonaka Harbour 8303. Australian government seized their citizens' guns. Now they're removing all common sense. And I want to just look into this to make you all aware of where basically the gun rights are in Australia, because over the last, so many years, I think since the 90s, they have had some pretty major changes. And I wanted to see also, is it true that they can't have guns at all? And it looks like they actually can. But so I'll just read a couple of these. Now, these are from Grok AI, so I avoided the super woke Gemini and some of the other AIs that are out there. But in talking about the gun laws in Australia, Australia implemented some of the world's strictest gun control laws through the National Firearms Agreement, which significantly restricted gun ownership and led to the mandatory compensated surrender or buyback program. So in 1996 and 7, these reforms, the government banned automatic and semi-automatic rifles and shotguns. It introduced stricter licensing, mandatory 28-day waiting periods, registration of all firearms, and a requirement for a genuine reason to own a gun, such as sport, target shooting, hunting, or farming. Self-defense or personal protection is not accepted as a valid reason. Okay, that's pretty wild. I mean, I know a lot of people have guns for that specific reason, for self-defense. I mean, can you imagine people in Chicago or Oakland? Anyway, they also had this mandatory buyback confiscation where people had to surrender their guns if they fell within those categories, and then they paid them compensation for that. And in the current status, as of right now, civilians can still own firearms, primarily bolt-action rifles, break-action shotguns, and some handguns, but only with a license, background checks, safe storage requirements, and ongoing justification. So it looks like it is possible to own some types of guns in Australia, but it is pretty limited. And I know we have a number of people who part of our community out there who are in Australia, so feel free to jump in the comments and clarify if there's anything that we missed. Okay, then on the segment about Elon Musk and Billie Eilish, remember Billie Eilish was calling out Elon Musk, saying he could solve world hunger and what was the other one? Endangered species, calling him out, wanting him to give all of his money away. We had this comment from Chris Menser. How much money has Billie Eilish contributed to these causes? So I actually did look into this. This is from CNN. This is when she did call out billionaires. Only certain conservative, or at least kind of center billionaires. I'm sure that she wasn't calling on, the super leftist billionaires. They always seem to get a pass from people like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish urged billionaires to give away their money right after it was announced she was donating millions. So I'm sure she didn't think at all that if I'm going to call these people out, I want to donate a bunch of money so that I look really good. All right, so this is from that article talking about how much she gave. Late night talk show host Stephen Colbert thanked her right before for allowing him to break some news. This is extraordinary, Colbert said. Billie Eilish will be donating proceeds from her Hit Me Hard and Soft tour to support organizations, projects, and voices dedicated to food equity, client justice, reducing carbon pollution, and combating the climate crisis. That donation, ladies and gentlemen, is $11.5 million. Okay, so she did give some money to some organizations, but from the sounds of those, it sounds like, food equity, client justice, reducing carbon. It sounds like she's funding protests, really. I don't know why it didn't say she gave a bunch of money to the food bank or soup kitchens or something that would actually provide food, but it was just food equity. I don't even know what that is. So I don't know, maybe the next time you see somebody throwing soup on a masterpiece in Europe or gluing their hand to a BMW dealership floor. They're going to be sponsored by Billie Eilish. Who knows? Okay, anyway, thank you for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.